All right, good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. This is your Wednesday edition of the OnlyBets Sports Podcast. I'm here with Stern Bets, Mr. Brian Liberati, of course, Brian Liberati Wednesday, as he's going to be covering the PGA golf tournament that's going to be coming up. I think we're in the playoff rounds here of the PGA tournament, so excited to see and hear what he's got for us in store for the next several days. Coming up here, of course, we'll be joined by Drew DeLucchi shortly. Before I continue, guys, I just want to make sure our connection is good, that you all can hear me. Stern, can you hear me? Go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know if you can hear me.
Good morning, Prince. We are good. I can hear you. It feels better already. We will definitely have to start looking at alternatives here. Twitter, if you're listening, please pay attention. We can't keep doing this with you.
100%. It's getting pretty annoying. Brian, glad to have you on. Just real quick, I'm going to formally introduce you in a sec, but I just want to make sure your connection is good as well. You're able to hear myself and Stern. And good morning, Brian.
Morning, Prince and Moshe. I heard both of you just fine.
Perfect. Outstanding. Sounds good. Okay, great. Like I said, guys, we got a lot of sports here that we're going to be covering here throughout the day. Of course, we got Major League Baseball in full swing. We do have some soccer action as well. And like I said, we'll hear Brian's thoughts on the PGA tournament. Maybe we'll get a quick recap from him from the tournament that just passed, and then we'll get his thoughts on what's coming up here over the next several days. So, Stern, I'm gonna go and pass it over to you, dude. Good morning again. How's it going?
We're doing great. Now, on the picks yesterday, I went 1-1-1. One win, one loss, one push. So I'm looking for a better day today. But overall, we did really well. I went 6-1 on my no-run first inning plays yesterday. Unfortunately, some of the other first fives, 2 leads were blown, which really hurt me emotionally and mentally. But we come out with a profit. Looking forward to getting into today, and the FedEx St. June playoff tournament this weekend is going to be epic. I cannot wait to hear from Brian. Also, Brian, no pressure, but I know you guys you send us like matchup plays, and I think 7 of the 8 hit over the last tournament. If it's okay with you, I would love to just post that out on our official Twitter page, and I'll put it out on my article because people have to start following this. This is crazy.
Well, thanks, Moshe. Yeah, I was 7 of 8 with matchups, but also, too, I posted 3 finishing positions. 2 of them hit. I hit Davis Thompson, top 20 for plus 196, and then I had a top 30 parlay that paid 388.
Well done. Also, following you, Mike McClure and Sia Najad, you guys are my 3 PGA golf handicappers that I like to follow. Patrick McDonald also a little bit here and there. And there's one other person whose website that I use. But I won 3rd place or 4th place in a DFS contest last week for $12. It paid out basically 10 times over, and very appreciative of that. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Moshe. I saw that, man. That was fabulous news.
Also, because I haven't really been playing here, Brock is listening. Brock Newsome, who is a phenomenal human being on his own right. He is a semi-professional, professional. I'm sorry. I apologize if I didn't get that right. But in my eyes, you're a professional DFS player. You build your own lineups and projections, and I'm very impressed. And at one point, we were trying to work together to try to figure it out. And I just got insanely busy in my own life. Currently, just help my mom move, helping my family move. So in a few weeks or months, hopefully it'll calm down where I can really focus on it. But yeah, I've just been throwing out like, not every week, but like maybe every 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, I'll throw out like a $5 to $12 DFS ticket, and I'll try to see what I can come out with it. But if you guys aren't familiar with DFS, definitely get on board. It's probably the easiest way to hit big bucks quickly without putting too much capital into it. You can put $12 and win $1,000. Now, not saying that's common, but it's definitely possible. It's just like fantasy football, except for you're drafting every single day on a salary basis. All right, let's bring in Brian. I want to hear what you have today. I want to
Real
hear what
quick,
kind
Stern.
of
I'm
court.
sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. I'm so
sorry.
sorry,
Yeah,
Stern. Would you mind if Drew recaps his play and I recap mine before we get
yeah.
into Brian?
Of course, of course. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
Drew, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I just want to keep the formality going. Drew, if you're with us, good morning. Did you want to go ahead and recap your plays? I gotta find mine real quick.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Jay Gervin covered pretty dang easily, but Paul Skeens couldn't get 5 strikeouts for the first time in a while. He's covered this, 20 out of the 23 times. So that was a frustrating duo loss, but we'll bounce back. But I was spot on the Jay Gervin one. He only lost a 3-point innings and got absolutely rocked.
That was an excellent pick. And yeah, that was unfortunate that Skeens couldn't follow today. It really seems like after he gets through like two and a half, maybe 3 times through the lineup, he's starting to have trouble, specifically on the road. So something to look out for in the future. And also Prince, you can recap your best bets as well. Unfortunate on that little
Yeah.
just he was so close.
Ah.
He was
That
so
was so,
close.
man. I was right there. I was right there. I know. Yeah, we had the first three for the Marlins under basically to not score a run, and we were almost home, but they scored a late run in the third there. So unfortunately, we missed on that one. But we did hit on our two Champions League qualifying plays. We had Levski and Sofia on a drawn bet. They won that one outright, so we cashed that. And then we also had Bodo and USG over 3, and once again for the second straight game in a row, that hit as well. So going forward, guys, the Bodo Glimt games, the over 3 is almost an autoplay for that team. So we'll see what the matchup ends up being in the next round. Actually, I think there's one more round before we get into the group stage. Or I can't remember if it's another knockout stage or we get straight into the group stage. I'll look that up. But in any case, Bodo Glimt over 3 is like an autoplay for you guys. So just keep that in mind. But Stern, before we get I toss it over to you, I'm gonna ask Brian real quick. If you can, just Brian, if you can spend just a couple minutes recapping the tournament that just happened. Of course, with your phenomenal record, I'd like to hear kind of what your thoughts were. If you have any, I didn't prep you for it, so if you don't really have any thoughts, that's okay. But just curious as to what you thought of the tournament overall, and any golfers that you thought maybe over performed, maybe some golfers underperformed. Just your overall thoughts of what we saw over the weekend.
Okay, Prince. Basically, I thought it played out the way I kind of expected it. I'm not sure why I didn't play Michael Brennan. I had Michael Brennan in a first round matchup and he killed the guy by 6 shots. But it did play out quite what I thought. You had to keep the ball in the fairway, needed to hit greens, and that's pretty much what's going to happen this week also.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds good. Yeah, and then Stern, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you. And you can take over from here.
Sounds good. Also, that Bodo Glint game was 0-0 at halftime, if I'm not mistaken.
It
And then what,
was
3 or 4 goals in the second half?
five goals flew in the second half. It is 3-2. Yeah. So
I stopped
yeah,
paying
that
attention after the 70th minute when our bet cashed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. So definitely live bet opportunities with that team. If you don't see goals early, they're more than likely coming. So
Looking forward, this is going to be just a great day. I can feel it in my bones. All right, Brian, what are we looking at in terms of what kind of golfers are going to do well? What is the important metrics that we have to kind of look out for? Is it similar to last week where accuracy is paramount, or can some long bombers get involved? What do we got today, or this weekend, I should say?
Good morning, Moshe. Truthfully, it's going to be a lot of the same metrics as last week. It's a par 70 course, 7,388 yards. But if you miss the fairway, it's about a half a stroke penalty, just like last week's tournament was. So I'm definitely looking more at accuracy off the tee. Bombers are okay, but they need to keep the ball in the fairway because there's 11 holes that have water. Also, too, you want to look for players that are good iron players, very accurate with their distance control and everything. Because it's interesting when you miss the greens here, a lot of them fall off, but there's not a lot of rough around the green. There's a lot of rough off the fairways, But around the greens, it's very short, thin grass. You would think it would be easier, but you have to be much more precise with your wedges. You can hit the ball really easily out of this really thin grass. So I'm definitely looking at kind of like I said, what we talked about last week. You definitely want a good iron player, good driver in the fairway. Also, too, with the rough the way it is, this is interesting. The players that swing harder almost create like a knuckleball when the ball comes out of the rough. So in reality, they lose control sometimes out of the rough. That's why sometimes you'll see the ball just fly. Other times you see it just die. You almost want a player that's in the rough, almost like a Russell Henley. He doesn't swing real hard, but he's able to spin the ball out of the rough because he doesn't go so crazy after the ball. Now,
Well,
do you want me to?
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that sounds like Scotty Scheffler to a T, pun intended. Yeah, sorry, go on. But I wanted to hear your thoughts on the big two in the tournament, Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. But sorry for interrupting your flow. Keep on going, buddy.
No worry, Moshe. That's fine. I'm all over Scotty this week. All over Scotty. He's been off 2-3 weeks. I mean, you look at his metrics. I mean, he finished 3rd and 4th here the last 2 years. The last 3 years here, he shot 35 under. I know he hasn't won, but I'm all over him. Rory, I'm holding judgment this week. I know he's playing this week, but I think he's more getting ready for the next 2 weeks. He does not like this course. He's said it over the years. He does not like this golf course. So mentally, I don't know how good he is. I mean, sure, he's playing with Scotty, which probably will help him. I think he'll be a little more motivated, but I'm kind of passing on him this week. So my winner, I like Scotty Scheffler at plus 460. He hits all the boxes like you were talking about, Moshe. I mean, out of the rough, he's a good driver. Iron play, he's very good with his distances. One of the best short games around. Plus, a nice little fact, he's the 5th best putter on Bermuda greens this year. And that's what they play on. Now, I also have a winner without Scotty. I love Hideki Matsuyama this week at plus 2,500. Hideki's just been on fire the last 5 weeks. His driving's back. His iron play is as good as ever, and his around the green him and Scotty are probably the 2 best. His last 5 events, he's gone T14, T14, T3, T5, T7. Plus, he won here 2 years ago. So I love Hideki this week. Again, if Scotty doesn't win, I think Hideki is going to be the man. Now, I do have a top 20 in ties, and I say this all the time, but don't be afraid to play the ties. You might lose 20 cents or something, but it's well worth it. I like Ricky Fowler at plus 148 this week. He's driving the ball beautifully. Approach play has been strongest it's been all year. He's putting really, really well, and he putts very well on Bermuda greens. His last 3 events, he's been T5, T18, T8. And last year he finished T6 here. So I expect a really good week from him. He's had a week off. Then I have a top 30 in ties play. I like Corey Connors this week at plus 104. Corey's a really good driver of the ball, good iron player. And what excites me this week about him, his last 5 tournaments, he's gained strokes putting because he's not the best putter in the world, but he's been on a nice roll with his putting lately. So I'm looking for him to finish well in the top 30. I think he's going to finish there easily. Now, I've got, like I did last week, I've got a fun play, 2 fun plays. I've got a top 20 in ties parlay. I have Hideki Matsuyama, Russell Henley at plus 260. I talked about Hideki, Russell Henley. If you know golf, he's one of the best tee to green players we have. His short game's been good lately. His last 3 events, he's finished T12, T9, T20. But I just think he's going to be fine. I was almost going to play him to win this week, but I'll keep him in that parlay with Hideki. And then I have a top 30 in ties parlay. I have Tom Kim and Alex Fitzpatrick at plus 226. both players, tee to green, are elite. They really are good. Fitzpatrick struggled with his putting lately, but he's been off a couple weeks. I got a feeling his putting's going to be back. Kim, I think, as we know, he's been playing great. He's been probably top 5 player in the last 5 tournaments. So, and I love the prices too on these parlays, considering there's only 70 players, 69 players in the field, and there's no cut. So every player will be playing all 4 rounds. And then I do have for tomorrow, I've got two ball matchups. I have Alex Noren over Eric Cole at -125. Tee off is 8:40 a.m. And then I have Chris Gotterup over Minwoo Lee -124. Tee off is 12:20 p.m. Now, those are Eastern Standard Times, but they are playing in the Central Time because they're in Memphis this week. Plus, as you probably know, it's going to be hotter than heck. They're talking about 3 digits, three or 4 of the days. So it's going to be a nice toasty one.
Wow. All right. That is a lot to unpack. A lot of great information. First of all, absolutely love Tom Kim. Very disappointing Sunday for him, but the rest of the tournament was unbelievable. I think he was tied for 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday morning. That's a really fun one. And Hideki, didn't he come from like 8 or 9 back 2 years ago to win this tournament? Was that the same one where he just had an unbelievable Sunday and he just destroyed the field from like, I think the number was at like plus 4,000 on Sunday?
Correct. Yeah, he came out of nowhere. And like you said, Kim, through 10 holes on Sunday, was only 2 back, and then he double bogeyed 11, and it was over for him.
Yeah, that was disappointing. All right, I do have to ask this because last week I asked you, do you have any sprinkles for a first round leader? And you answered Brennan, who ended up winning the whole dang tournament. Do you have any first round sprinkles for us this week?
No, I know. I said Brennan. I mean, I hadn't thought about it a whole lot, but just quickly, kind of off the cuff, I like Brennan again. Truthfully, I really do.
Okay, I'm down for that, man. Listen, honestly, and I would consider myself a semi-professional or professional sports bettor. Those type of picks that are on the peripherals that didn't really make it into the main plays, but you're like, I have a good feeling about that person, just like you said, off the cuff. Those are the players that tend to do really, really well. Those are the bets that tend to cash at even a better rate than your actual plays, my actual plays sometimes. So I'm definitely going to be sprinkling on Brennan once again, first round leader, and seeing how he does, maybe add him onto a DFS lineup. I have a question here about Justin Thomas. We saw some good stuff from him. He made an incredible putt to basically make the cut last week. Can we expect improvements of him? I feel like we're seeing his game kind of come into shape.
That's a great question, Moshe. I was thinking of playing him like as top 20 this week. His driving has been better because it's always kind of worried me the past year or so. When he uses his driver, he sprays the ball a decent amount, but he's definitely tightened it up. His iron play has been really good, probably almost as good as ever. The only thing that worries me is his putting at times. He's putted well lately, but every once in a while he can have just a terrible putting day or two, and then boom, he's gone. But I think he'll do okay this week.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You're just kind of worried about that, Saturday, Sunday putting, and if it goes downhill, it goes downhill really quickly, and there's not a lot you can do about it. What about Wyndham Clark? We were talking about Wyndham Clark a lot over the last month, but I feel like his name's kind of gone out of the public memory, but he's still a really great option this week, right?
I don't think he is this week, Moshe. The only reason is I'm not going off this totally, but he's missed the last 2 cuts. He's starting to spray his driver, which he has a tendency to do, and his putting's not near what it was for the 6 weeks or whatever. So I'm not high on him this week.
Okay, good looking out. See, this is why I ask you the questions. I'm not playing these people before I talk to you. All right, last one. Tommy Fleetwood. Similar profile, I guess, in terms of was really high. I actually lost focus on him last week, but any thoughts on him this week?
Truthfully, he's one player I just forgot about. I liked him a lot going into the tournament. I don't know why I haven't played him yet. I'm going to find a way to play him somehow because he does well. Him and Scotty, the last 3 years at this tournament, have shot 35 under. So I don't think he'll win, but I could definitely easily see a top 10 for him.
All right, that's awesome information. Thank you. Is there any other kind of tips or tricks that we are going to look out for? I mean, you said it was similar to last week, so I'm assuming, like you mentioned, the iron play, accuracy off the tee, putting a little bit. But is there any other metrics or aspects that we should be looking out for? Maybe either for live opportunities or just to kind of understand how the game is going to go.
Well, this is going to probably sound funny, but some guys don't do real well when it's that hot. So, some guys are going to have to be really careful about hydrating, things like that. The interesting thing too, of course, is there's no cut. So they're playing all 4 rounds. That changes a lot in my mind overall when I look at a tournament. So truthfully, I kind of, besides the plays I put out, I like to wait around. I want to watch what goes on tomorrow, see how the course is playing, and then I'll feel better for Friday and the weekend.
Okay, speaking of how the course is playing, this is a question that I meant to ask you every week, but I always kind of forget because, there's so much going on. But what kind of scoring can we expect? Are we expecting near par, maybe 2 or 3 under? What's the leader look like? What's the field going to look like? Is this going to be an extreme scoring opportunities, which I assume it's not? What is the type of scoring? And if there was a cut, I know there's not a cut, but if there was a cut, what kind of number are you expecting? Like kind of like 8 under, 4 under, something like that, to kind of give me a feel for when I watch these players tomorrow go off. How, if they're 2 under, is that a good day or is that just average?
Very good questions. I mean, I'll go to this. If there was a cut, I would say probably 3 under would be the cut. Now, I went back through the history. The lowest under par was 19 under by Dustin Johnson. I would say if a player shoots 3 to 4 under each round, he's got a great chance of winning. He'll be in the top 2 or 3. I've got a feeling 14 to 16 under will probably win.
Gosh, that's quite a score. Yeah, looking forward to it. Again, thank you for all the information. Is there any last or final thoughts from you? And then I'll go around the horn to ask if Drew or Prince has any questions for you.
No, I think I bored everybody long enough.
You were never boring, man. This is some of the greatest segments. I look forward to this. I keep saying this. I look forward to this every Wednesday. It is a phenomenal information palooza. I don't know what to say. I ran out of words. But I love it. And honestly, using the information that we talk about to try to get some insights on some of these players helps me form how I think about the tournament. And since you've been coming on the show, I've been a lot more successful. So I think it has a 1-to-1 ratio on that front.
Hey, I'm glad to hear that, Moshe. I really am. Thank you for the nice words.
Anytime. Prince, any questions or thoughts for St. Jude's this week?
Yeah, I do have a couple actually. So you and Brian kind of answered some of them a little bit, but I kind of want to expand on the heat here. You mentioned there's going to be triple digits throughout most of the tournament. Question for you, Brian, is so if you were to draw a parallel to baseball, right? Usually when it's hot and humid, the ball travels farther. Do we see a parallel in golf? Can you expect maybe longer tee shots, longer shots? From the fairway or from the rough. Just longer shots in general. Like, can we expect that to maybe improve the scoring? Right? Maybe players get onto the green a little bit quicker in fewer strokes than normal because maybe the ball is traveling farther than it normally does. Is there a parallel to be made in that? And then my second question is, and you sort of answered this already, but the triple digit heat. How does that impact the golfers? Is it just pure exhaustion, or is there any other maybe physical impacts or any other mental impacts that it could have on particular golfers?
Great questions, Prince. first thing is going back to what you talked about, like with the heat and everything. Some guys, they just sweat so much. They have to be really careful. They have to hydrate. A lot of them, carry not just water bottles, but electrolytes and everything for themselves. I remember watching the last 2 years this tournament, Lucas Glover, on every tee box, he dunked his hands and arms into the where the water was, into the ice, just to try to cool himself down. So yeah, some of the guys have to be really careful. Now, you brought up a great point. It's just like baseball. When it's warm, the ball does carry farther. So the player and caddy have to be careful. They're going to probably have to readjust, possibly during the round or on the range, their clubs. So it could be a help. It could be a hindrance for some of these guys with the ball going farther.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it makes sense. Probably some heavy adjustments need to be made by everyone out there. All right, cool. Thank you so much for that. Drew, did you have any questions for Brian here?
No, not mine, sir.
All right, cool. Stern, pass it back over to you.
All right, let's get into baseball. Oh, we got some day baseball today, and it is good to be back. All right, Drew, we're going to go to you first. What do we got on the slate today?
Oh, actually, you can go first. I have to type something up real quick.
Absolutely, no problem. I am ready and fired up to go. We are going to be heading. This was a tricky slate for me, got to be honest. Not a lot of clear plays, but I think I found one. It's not necessarily the nicest priced one, but I think it's probably the most solid option on the slate. We're going to look at the Red Sox, Blue Jays, no run first inning. I got this at minus 140 last night on Caesars. Hopefully the line fell and you can get it better. But this is just a really good spot. Ranger Suarez on the road, coming back from injury. He has looked great overall this season and coming back. Now, he isn't necessarily as locked in as he once was, but I think that in the first inning, he will be fine. He ranks third among qualified pitchers in XFIP at 141. In the first inning. That's just an incredible stat. It's right next to Jason Mizorowski, Jacob Mizorowski. And Toronto ranks 27th in offensive production at home over the last month in the first. So I really do like Suarez to keep the focus early and get it done. On the other side, Jose Soriano has a respectable 335 xFIP in the first inning. I think it ranks around 45. But he has, if you're looking at his numbers, he has been extremely unlucky early in games at home. The way he has pitched lately in his last 5 games makes me want to back him, despite facing Boston, who has been an absolute beast as of late. And when I say as of late, I'm talking about the last 2 months, not the last 5 days. The last 5 days, the Red Sox offensive production has fallen off a cliff. And I think that this is a great spot to take a no-run first inning early. Drew, any thoughts?
I like it a lot.
What's not to like?
Yeah.
Let's go. What do you got?
Yeah. So for me, it keeps on raising. Like I told in the chat, Framber Valdez over 79 votes at minus 153. It's minus 180 already on Fanatics. Since Scooble has been traded, he's kind of a different man. He's had back-to-back games with 7 innings pitched. He did it against multiple different teams. We saw him do against at the Athletics and at the Mariners too. I know both offenses aren't the best as of right now, but you know what? They're pretty good offense, and it's very hard to succeed like he did on the road. And then now today, he is, I believe, yeah, you're going to pitch at home against the Guardians. He's facing off against Foster Griffin. I just think this is really good value, especially for a guy who is officially now the ace of the Tigers, and you see like some stress got taken off of him. He does have a slight walk issue. He has walked 2 or more batters the last 4 games, but something he does do, he produces a lot of ground balls, and when he gets hits, it's very weak hits. He doesn't really give up much extra base hits when he does. He hasn't given up any home runs the last 2 games out of the 14 hits he's given up. So a lot of soft contact. So give me Framber Valdez over 17.5 outs.
He is definitely rapidly improving his underlying metrics. The walk rate was at 8.6. Now it's at 8.1. The hard hit rate was at 46%. Now it's at 43%. The ground ball rate's at 54.5%. So yeah, a lot of metrics are looking up lately. And I think you're right. The fact that he doesn't have Scooble there takes some kind of weird pressure away from him, and he has been performing a lot better as of late. I do lean Tigers in this one. Not an official play, but I definitely think Valdez is the right move here. All right, Prince, any thoughts on the MLB today?
Nope, nothing for me today.
All right, let's get into, where are we going next? Can we get into soccer?
Yeah, we can do soccer. We do have a Super Cup, UEFA Super Cup match taking place this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern. Basically, this is a matchup between the Champions League winner and the Europa League winner from last season. So it's kind of an exhibition game, honestly. It doesn't really have too much importance. There's not a whole lot of culture around it, but it's more or less a cash grab. But I think the teams still want to compete in it. It's kind of gives them a little bit of a measuring stick as to where they are coming into this season. So I do think both teams are going to come into this one relatively interested in it. We got PSG, of course, the Champions League winner, taking on Aston Villa, who were the Europa League winners. I'm going to keep this one simple. I think PSG is a much better team than Aston Villa. I like PSG to win straight up on the money line, but I'll add over 1.5 goals to increase the value here. You're going to get that at minus 105. If you want to take PSG straight up on the money line, just at minus 145, that's okay too. But I can't see this ending with fewer than a couple goals. PSG, one of the more prolific offenses in the world, so typically their games tend to see over 1.5 hit at a very high rate. Aston Villa on the other side, same thing. Defensively, they can be had at times, so I think they're likely to score or concede, and we'll hit that over 1.5. I think with relative ease. I hate to say that. Usually, I'll jinx myself when I say that, but I can't see this ending with fewer than 2 goals. So give me PSG to win straight up on the money line, and then over 1.5 total goals, and it comes in at minus 105.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Just curious what the team total over 1.5 is for PSG. Probably 2 juice at like minus 240. But definitely something that I want to use as a parlay piece. But I like the money play there on top of it as well. I think it's a really sharp look. Looking forward to some soccer.
Yeah, for sure. And then I do have another futures play for you guys as well. I'm gonna try to give out a futures play here every so often throughout the week.
Sorry, can I
So we
pre-boo
get.
this?
Oh no, not that one, not that one, not no, the soccer one. We'll get. You can preview the next one. No, hold on, yeah, hold on. I still have one more soccer future. Then you can preview. No, we got one more soccer one. We're looking at League One in the England soccer pyramid, which is basically your third division. And I'm looking at Leicester City. Leicester City. This is a team that's fallen on hard times. I mean, you're talking about this is the same team that just 10 years ago won the Premier League in shocking fashion. Nobody expected them. They were the biggest odds underdogs to ever win the Premier League. But 10 years ago, they were sitting on top of the world. And now they're playing in the third division of the England pyramid. So really falling on hard times. But this team is too good to be playing in a third division. I expect them to go straight back up to the championship, which is the second division in the pyramid of England. And so I like Leicester here. We're just going to ask them to get promoted. I mean, if you want to get them to win outright, I think it's at like plus 260 right now to win outright League One. You could play that if you want. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative just in case there's some injuries or some things happen that are unexpected. We're going to get Leicester City just to get promoted, and that comes in at minus 138. Shop around. You might be able to find a better price, but I can't see any way that Leicester does not get promoted back up to the second division, which is the championship division. So I think there's a lot of value on that. Give me Leicester City to be promoted from League One. That comes in again minus 138.
That actually might be my favorite play in a long time. That really looks like a sharp one. I looked into it just a little bit, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're giving me what number for them to get promoted again?"
Yeah,
When
they're
they're clear
significantly.
favorites to win.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, not even close. They're clear favorites, significantly better than any other team in that division. So I think the third division. I say third division just to keep it, chronologically in order. But it's called League One, just so you guys know. But in any case, I think that's as low as they go. I can't see them staying in that division. They've fallen on hard times, but they still have too much quality for that division. So yeah, I think there's a ton of value on that. All right, Boo, go. You want to get your boo in real quick before I get my final futures?
Also happen to agree with the pick.
Drum roll.
All right, guys. So let's head over to the NFL, the National Football League. I've got a futures play for you guys that
Dub
I
Bears.
Absolutely love. Yes, the Bears, of course. Always love anything the Bears. But I'm actually not going with the Bears this time. I'm going with Moshe's favorite team. And by favorite, I mean least favorite. How about them Cowboys? Give me the Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East at plus 265. Let me break it down for you guys here. Listen, here's my thought process. Look at the other teams in the division. Let's start with the New York Football Giants, Moshe's favorite team. Moshe, I'm sorry to say, I think this team might be in for a little bit of a struggle in year one under John Harbaugh. Yeah, John Harbaugh. I almost got them mixed up. My main problem with the Giants is that I told you guys this before. Matt Nagy, I do not trust Matt Nagy whatsoever, and I think this offense is not going to hit its peak as long as he's there. So we'll see how long he ends up being there. I would be shocked to see him finish out the season, but in any case, here he's going to hold this team back, and so this is a complete fade on Nagy. You look at John Harbaugh and what they did with the Ravens last season wasn't great. Well, they kind of backslid a little bit, so. I think there's a lot of question marks around the Giants right now, so I count them out. You look at Washington, right? Do we know if Jaden Daniels is that guy? He had a great a rookie season. I thought he had a little bit of a slump last season. Now he was dealing with injuries last year as well, so maybe that had a little bit to contribute to it. But I think the book is still. I don't think. I think the media and the critics or the analysts are pumping up Jaden Daniels just a little bit too much. I still haven't seen quite enough to put him up there in the elite quarterback category yet. So, and you look at the supporting cast. Their big free agent signing on offense was Stephon Diggs. Excuse me, Stephon Diggs? Not anymore. No, I'm out on Stephon Diggs. Maybe a few years ago, but not now. Not at this stage of his career. You talk about Stephon Diggs and Terry McLaurin, who's been there for what? It feels like 10 years. I mean, Terry McLaurin is getting up there in age as well. So I struggle to find where they have elite young talent on the wide receiver position. I struggle. I know they made some changes defensively. They probably will be better defensively, but look, I don't think they're a juggernaut. So they're another question mark. And then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL. I think they've overachieved the last couple of seasons. I don't believe in Nick Sirianni. I think there's been a lot of disruption, a lot of turmoil in the locker room over the last couple of years. You could say some of that was maybe AJ Brown, some of that was maybe some of the other players, but it's also on the head coach to kind of put those fires out, and he didn't. And so I think I don't know if the vibes are there with Philadelphia, to be honest with you. And Saquon Barkley, another year into his career, he kind of had a step back last year. And look, he's got a lot of tread on those tires. So we'll see if he's able to produce at the level that he did when he first got there. I don't think he will. Of course, they did lose A.J. Brown. And Jalen Hurts. I know everyone loves Jalen Hurts. They love his future to himself, but is he really that guy? I'm not so sure. I feel like, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I feel like they're using him a lot the same way that the Carolina Panthers used Cam Newton. Right? They rely on his physicality a lot to produce plays, to produce first downs. And you look at Cam Newton over the duration of his career. When it got down towards the end of it, when he lost his physicality, he was nothing. He was absolutely a dud. He was a zero. He was a shell of who he was. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to Jalen Hurts. I think they rely on his physicality too much. I'm not sure if he's the most accurate thrower, the most accurate passer in the league. And so, again, question marks with Philly. So I look at the other three teams in the division. I say, why not the Cowboys? Look at this Cowboys team. Dak Prescott, an absolute rock solid quarterback in the regular season, right? We're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about a regular season, a complete stat stuffer, right? Gets the numbers. You look at their wide receiving core: CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, two number one wide receivers. They have an absolute elite tight end in Jake Ferguson, who Dak Prescott loves him some Jake Ferguson. He loves those tight ends. He loved Jason Witten when he was there, and now you got Jake Ferguson taking over, who is quietly one of the top tight ends in the NFL. Huge producer. You look at the running back position. They re-signed Javonte Williams, who had a resurgence year last year, and still got Jaden Blue back there. So. And they made improvements on the defensive side too in the draft. Drafted a lot of young defensive players from big name schools. Drew, you can speak more to that than me. But you look at this team. I fail to see where their weaknesses are. And so I think if you just take away the fact that they're called the Dallas Cowboys, take away the name, and you just look at this team, I think this team has everything that you need to win the division. And a division, to me, that has a lot of question marks. So I think the fact that they're the Dallas Cowboys, that there's Jerry Jones, I think people are just instantly anti Jerry Jones, anti Cowboys. But take away the names, take away the labels, look at the team for what it is, and I think this team has a lot of talent. So give it to Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East plus 265. Stern, tell me why I'm wrong, and I'm sure you have plenty of
I'm
reasons.
rebooing you. So I will say I think that everything in your analysis is spot on for the most part. I do agree that the Giants are not going to be as exciting as people think, but that is just me as a pessimistic Giants fan. But to be fair, I don't see their defense being able to really hold up with the top leagues of the team. I still project them to be in the bottom 5 to 10 of the league. Eagles, I disagree with a little bit. I think the Eagles are going to be much improved this year, addition by subtraction. I think that they're a really good timing offense, and I think that they're going to be leaning that into that a little bit more this year, which will definitely help Jalen Hurts not have to think about where he's going to be putting the ball. I've started to notice that when Jalen Hurts doesn't have a clear person that he is going to, it just doesn't go well. He is a great timing quarterback who can ad lib if he gets in trouble, but if he has to ad lib the entire game, it really does get himself into trouble. And then Saquon Barkley, I mean, come on, man. He is one of the best running backs in the league, I think, hands down. And I think it was a mistake on the offensive coordinator not to lean on that run game more. I don't understand why the Eagles kept going away from what was winning them games. I don't know, but I think that the Eagles are going to be leaning into their.
Stern, are you still there?
Oh, shoot.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you not hear me?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Did
you.
I disconnect?
Yeah, I can.
Hello?
Anyway.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on. Let me just text him. Anyway, I think that the Eagles are going to be a juggernaut this year. If you remember a few weeks ago, I put out a play NFL East Division exacta, first and second place. First place Eagles, second place Cowboys at plus 340. I still stand behind that bet. I really do like the Cowboys to be good in the regular season. I could see them making the playoffs. I don't think that they're beating the Eagles, though. I think the Eagles have the easiest path forward, just leaning on their strengths. And that's going to be also on their defensive front, which I don't necessarily trust the Cowboys for. Yeah, Drew, what do you got?
So I have multiple things on this. The first thing is the superstition part. Item B says, of course, the Eagles won the division last year. It was the first time they had back-to-back champions since 2002. They haven't had three-time champions in a long time. But I think that trend is broken, so the Eagles have a chance because I was always a believer in that. Like, what was it, like 20 straight years they had that? The second part, I will say, when it comes to Jaden Daniels, he was hurt last year, but I think the Commanders will be better than people realize. They keep adding people in free agency and getting free agents to where there's a point they'll do really well. But I do not necessarily believe in the Cowboys. One of the main reasons why is it's one of those things. We've seen it year in, year out. I think the Cowboys, you can make an argument, have one of the most talented rosters in the league with, and also one of the better quarterbacks too. If the Cowboys can be successful in the regular season, of course, have to get it done in the playoffs. But this is a team, as Stephen A. Smith would say, it's an accident, kind of like waiting to happen. But we saw it last year. They lost games they shouldn't. But if they get the best out of Dak and they don't get an ego George Pickens, their offense can bring them throughout they can bring them to where they need to go. I expect Dallas Cowboys, if they want to make the playoffs of any sort of kind, especially how stacked the NFC West is, they need to at least get 10 or 11 wins. But I think the Eagles will be better than people expect. And something that wasn't, I don't think, mentioned is I think Jalen Hurts will even be better this year because he has A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a great receiver, but he has his ego out of the way. We've seen quarterbacks in the past when they have great receivers, but they have a big ego. These quarterbacks worry too much about giving them the ball and it affects their gameplay. And I think Jalen Hurts is one of the most unselfish quarterbacks to where he feels bad if his teammates are, calling it out and he's too humble to admit it. And I think the fact that Devontae Smith is one of the most humble receivers is going to be the number one now. He's not going to be afraid, having to target someone or spread the ball around. And he's a very good timing quarterback. As someone, of course, who's a Niners fan, I can definitely admit Jalen Hurts is one of the most underrated quarterbacks and hate on quarterbacks, especially when he's on his game. We saw him dominate the Super Bowl. Actually, both Super Bowls, he was absolutely excellent. in. Against the Niners, he could have done better, but he also had to deal with A.J. Brown being a diva. And the last thing I'll say with that is when it comes to the Giants, I think the Giants have a chance to surprise certain teams. And I think they have a chance to possibly finish third in the division. And they are, I think, a year away from possibly winning the division. It's just one of those things where it's hard to back Dallas when they don't also really have a home field advantage. Because most, I'm trying to understand, they have so many fans, and usually their stadium, ATD stadium, gets overtaken by other people's, fans by well. So that's my overall take.
I'm really worried about the Cowboys defense overall, not worried about their offense. The offense has been clicking for many years. It's one of the best units that we've seen on the field all season. It really is just, can their defense hold? And on the Eagles side, I don't mind what they did with their wide receiver core. What they did was they brought in more people like Devontae Smith, in my opinion, at least, with Dontavian Wicks, people who can get open, people who can run routes, slant routes, people who can just run in the middle of the field and find the open and drop into the open coverage. And then if you need someone for a deep ball, they have Hollywood Brown, who, to be fair, dropped a fair amount of passes in the last few years. Hopefully he works on that. But I think the biggest beneficiary of AJ Brown leaving is going to be Dallas Goedert. I kind of expect him to take that central position when they need 10 yards and out. They need to get the first down. I think that it's probably going to be Dallas Goedert who gets that volume. Drew, any thoughts on specifically Goedert?
I'm a big fan of Dallas Goedert. They seem to do really well with getting tight ends. Of course, we saw with Zach Ertz as well. It's something that you brought up with the people they brought in, and kind of I brought up with the Devontae Smith, not being an ego head and giving AJ Brown. We saw it with Josh Allen in a way when Stephon Diggs left. Notice the turnovers dropped for Josh Allen because Stephon Diggs was the receiver that heavily demanded the ball. And I think we'll kind of, I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is Josh Allen, but we'll see that with Jalen Hurts, where his turnovers in general, he doesn't return the ball enough, will drop, and he'll be more free to pass and more confident, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Just play the field. Don't play the player. All right. We're getting up onto the hour. I've got to get to work. Let's recap our best bets. Unfortunately, I think Prince was kicked out of the show. Come on, Twitter. Do better. Anyway, Drew, give me your best bets.
So I'm assuming we're probably just going to skip the question of the day.
Yeah. When we have Prince back tomorrow, we can talk about it.
Yeah. It sounds good. I have Framber Valdez over 17.5 outs at -153.
Absolutely love it. Looking at Prince's plays, let me just scroll up there. We have PSG money line and the game total over 1.5 goals at -105. Leicester City to be promoted in England Division 1, the third division in the English soccer league, and then the Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East at +265. I am on, of course, Red Sox Blue Jays, no run first inning, -140. Yeah, Drew, any final thoughts before we close out for the day?
No final thoughts from me.
All right, sorry, I saw your hand up. I just assumed. Sometimes those hands just stay up in the icons and you can't really see when they go down. But either way, we've had a great show. Looking forward to a great day in sports all around. If you guys aren't following Prince of Picks on Twitter or myself or Drew, please follow us. Give us a listen. We have a lot of great information. And if you want to come onto our show, come join. This is a great show. We have open opportunities. We're waiting for you to give your take. Have a wonderful day. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. See ya.